Okay, so we're recording. So since I started the recording late, just to recap, we installed React Router at 5.2.0. Let's see here, using npm React Router DOM. React Router DOM at 5.2.0. We have installed Axios, and we have installed Yup. We probably also want to do a some Cypress. So you can do an Npx Cypress install, and this should install Cypress locally. It should give you the latest version of Cypress. It's been a month since I've run it. And we're going to say yes. And then I usually do just npm Cypress open. It's probably going to fail. It's fine. But the Cypress open, I believe, should give us a Cypress folder in our project. So this might take a minute for it to go through and do its thing. If not, then we'll play with it here in a little bit and make it so we get our Cypress folder. This is the more nebulous part of will it work? While it's doing that, yep, we got our Cypress. It tried opening Cypress on another screen. I'm opening up my key lime sparkling water with a hint of key lime. Any other questions so far on where we're at?
I don't have any.
Awesome. James, Mike, you guys good?
What was the Cypress install command again?
So the Cypress install command is this npx Cypress install. I like doing it this way better than trying to do the npm install Cypress -g blah 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 stuff. Npx grabs it from the internet, gives it the latest version, and runs the install command from Cypress. And basically it fixes a lot of problems that I've ever had with it. The second one, so you can see it says skipping installation. The skipping installation is because I've already got it installed. So it doesn't need to upgrade or whatever. You can do a Cypress and npx Cypress install --force if you're starting to have weird problems. And then I did npx Cypress open. It says need to install the following packages. Cypress, that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't show up anywhere in here, I don't think. Yeah, it's just Cypress. You should just be able to do npx Cypress open, and it'll show up on one of these little windows over here. And I'm just going to move this off screen since that's kind of doing its little thing. I'm going to do a Control-C, which exits it. And we're going to do, I think that's everything that we need, because I'm not really going to do any style components on this, just for lack of time, unless you guys want to be here for like multiple hours doing this. I don't know, anything else you can think of that you want? Nope.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this should be good.
All right, cool. So we'll do a start and make sure it hasn't exploded. Okay, looks good, I think. I don't think I've ever really seen that before, but it says that it's successful, so should be working. All right, I'm going to do some cleanup. Personally, I don't like the way a lot of this stuff is set up on when I'm just trying to do like a very basic demonstration. So a lot of the times what you'll see me do is I'll just go through, delete everything in my public folder except for maybe the Favicon, and I'll make a new doc type. So a new index HTML file, and we'll just call this we'll call this a Tesla order form app thingy. There we go. Totally legit, right? And we'll do a container. Sounds good. So first thing you'll notice is that we actually broke this. I always go back and start working my way back to making this thing work. But in the public folder, I have a Favicon, which is just that little React thing up here in the corner, and an index with a body. Oh, you stupid thing. A body and a div with a class of a container. So I go into my source. I can see other things that I really don't care about, like this app CSS. I don't really want to do any styling. Index.css, don't want to do any index CSSing. Not really going to do any tests here. They're going to be Cyprus testing. Don't need a logo. Don't really want to do web vitals or setup tests. And we have thoroughly nuked this thing. So, I mean, it is unhappy. So we don't need that report web vitals. We're not going to use this here. No CSS. We've got our import app. I really don't care if we're in strict mode or not. We're not doing anything fancy today. We're just going to render our app. We're going to save that. It's still broken. Go into app. We're going to get rid of all of this stuff in here and our logo and our CSS. So still broken because we are trying to do a document get element by ID, and we probably want to do a query selector instead. No, that's not what I want. And we're going to want to get container from our index. So we're going to try to mount our app inside of this div here. And okay, so that stopped crashing. So if I do something like hello world, refresh, inspect, let's see here. A div class container, but it's not mounting our app. Restart our Webpack. Yeah, still no hello world. I wonder if I broke something. That's always fun. Oh, let's see here. Going through some of the basics, figure out if we're, oops, already got it over here. Yeah, nothing's being mounted. That's weird. There we go. I forgot my class container right here. I was just trying to find a element called container instead of class container. Must be getting late. Okay, so now our app is mounting inside of our div class container. We have this wonderful div class app, hello world. Let's start doing something slightly more interesting. Stuff you haven't seen before, I guess. So I'm going to rename this to a JSX file so I get a little bit easier context to type stuff out. So, so we'll do a header H1. So these are totally legit Tesla order form. Show me the money. Sounds legit, right?
Very.
Totally legit.
And then we'll just make a regular HTML file like this. So some of the things you may not have seen. Have you guys seen this this syntax here where you just have like empty elements?
I haven't.
Okay, so this is a fragment. So you know, if you try to return more than one thing at a time, it just does that. It explodes. This allows you to return 3 things in this case. And so all 3 of these things are going to appear right underneath div class container. So div class container is going to have a header, a main, and a footer underneath there as direct children, because this will insert them underneath that. So if we go here and we look under here, you can see we have a header with totally legit Tesla order form. Show me the money. Main says hello world. Footer doesn't say anything. So copyright 2022. Here we go. Cool. Never said it would be pretty. So if we're wanting to do a React router, the first thing that we're going to need to do is we need to have a router provider wrapping everything that we want to be able to be routed. So if you notice, we have this browser router as router. They also have like hash router and all kinds of stuff. Browser router is the one that you want. And the reason why we're doing browser router as router is if we wanted to change this to a hash router or whatever the router is later that comes along that is better than browser router, then all we need to do is just change this. We don't have to change any other code, just where we're importing it. Or sorry, you know, router is always going to be router. You could turn this into hash router if you wanted to, or browser router 2, or whatever. It just makes it easier for you to change out what type of router you're dealing with. Typically what we're going to do is we're going to do it from our render element here. So most of the time, whenever you hear a provider, we're going to be putting it inside of here, inside of our render element. So we're going to We're going to import, browser router from React Router DOM, and I'm just going to do this one. And my auto imports are doing weird stuff. Browser router as router. Then we are going to do a router. Move our app up inside of there like that. So the router is providing the app with the functionality of React Router DOM. So specifically browser router. You'll also see this provider syntax when you get into Unit 3 with context API. You may see it also with material UI. There's a few other ones that will be wrapped in a provider. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head. There's tons of providers out there, but basically it just means you wrap whatever you want to use that in here, and you may have to mess with the order of it, but for right now, one provider's good, the router. Okay, so make sure that this hasn't exploded. It has not, so we're good to go. So number one most important thing with React Router, browser router as router, wrap your app in a router. Without that, nothing works at all. Second most important thing in the world is to actually have routes. We're probably going to need our main page, an order page, and some sort of a finish page to show that we've ordered a vehicle. Probably also going to want to be able to select between, say, like a Model 3, a Model Y, a Model S, and a Model X, right? So those are their four main cars that they have. Let's see. So if we were to do that, I could probably do that with one component for the order form and make it so that when you click on a button on the home page, it sends you to which vehicle you want to order. And the component should be able to tell which vehicle you wanted based off the one you clicked on. So that's where we're going to be using the use params. Now, I don't know necessarily if they're going to be needing that on tomorrow's sprint or not, but it's the way that I want to do it. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a nav, and I'm going to make 4 anchor tags. I hate it when they put it on one line. And we're going to say Model 3, Model Y, yes, everyone wants to do S3XY, but whatever, I'm going to do it this way. So I went from cheapest to the most expensive. So I'm doing an anchor tag just for a demonstration purpose, but we're going to change these to links here in a second. So we're probably going to want to make an endpoint, and we're going to call this order form. If I go back over here and I start looking at this, they have this colon slug, right? So that colon slug is the variable name that you're going to be using from use params. So you can see let slug equals use params. So use params is returning an object, and that object has a value or a key called slug that we're dereferencing. So it's making a new variable named slug, equaling it to whatever the value is that is on your parameter here. So for me, I'm not going to use slug. I'm going to call this our model in the link. So this one is going to be a 3. Oh, I didn't want to select the 3. Like that. So now that we have order form 3y, s, and x, fantastic. That's, I guess, will work fine. Now we need some sort of a component to send that to and start to make it work. So I'm going to make a new folder. And remember, if you do a component folder or anything, and you're not happy with the case, don't be tempted to change it unless you really, really want to go through and discover what hell is like in GitHub.
What happens? Just curious.
So GitHub, well, Git will recognize both capital and lowercase component, for example. And let's say that you were already working in that and you'd already pushed your changes and you decided you wanted to change your component to lowercase c instead of capital C for whatever reason. So now you have 2 copies of the same thing. And as you start working out of that, you'll notice that you've made changes on your system that are no longer deployed on your deployed system. So
it's
yeah,
it's case insensitive.
Yep.
Oh,
well,
no.
our system is case insensitive, where so like Mac, PC, Linux is case insensitive, but the way that GitHub, or the way that Git deals with things, not necessarily GitHub, Git in general, will treat it as well, yeah, it is case insensitive, and we're case sensitive, or wait, yeah, one way or the other. Basically, it messes things up because it's got 2 copies of it and it's only updating one of them. And the only way to get rid of it is to basically like completely rename that folder, push it, and then rename it again, push it again, and then it should fix most of the problems.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So
just in case.
that happens once every build week for the last 3 years that I've known about that problem.
Oh, geez.
And
Oh.
if you'd like to know who was the one who discovered that problem, in my mind, it's me, because I did it. But other people helped me through it because they also did it. So everybody wants to do it. So I pick lowercase, uppercase, don't change it unless you want to fix it. Like really fix it.
Some coding fun, as they say.
Yes, with air quotes. All right. Here goes my lungs. So we're going to make a new component. We're going to call this border. And the reason why I'm using JSX is just it's a lot easier for me to type in based off the linter. So like And you don't even have to do import React from React anymore. Oh, come on. That's not what I told you to do. You still need to have a function. So we'll do we're going to set this equal to, there's going to be props. I'm sure. No, actually, I don't think we're going to be passing any props. We're going to be all params on this. So we got order form. We've got, yeah, I guess probably do have props. So we'll console log our props out. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Can't type today. You guys ever have that problem?
Oh yeah, especially if I'm trying to screen share and
Oh
show
yeah.
people.
Yeah,
And it's just I
guarantee you.
can't type at all.
Yeah, I guarantee you that's how it works. So last thing we need an export default or order form. So this is not exactly a React app yet, but let's do, what would that be? A return. And we'll just do that empty thing, and we'll do something like that, right? Yeah. So, save this. And just make sure I haven't broken anything. All right, so we got a Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and Model X. As I said, not big into the styling side of things. Again, we might do that at some point. But what might be a good idea is to go ahead and make it so we can connect into this using our wonderful switch route model here. So this one is going to be we're going to do switch. We also have to import this. Switch from React Router DOM. So we have a switch. That's fantastic. The next thing that we're going to want to do is our route, not router. So we're going to have 3 routes, I guess. So we probably want to have our an exact path to root, and we're going to try this one first. So we're going to say click on the above links to send slots with money. There we go. And I just want to see if this works or not. I haven't tried it without using like an element or something. So, all right, cool. So click on the above links to send us lots of money. So that's working on our root route. I guess we'll turn this into an H2. Sounds good. All right. There. So that's already looking so professional, legit. Next route we probably want is going to be to our order form. And do what I wanted to do, whatever. We'll go and import our order form up here. Order form from component order form. I'm not a semicolon person. That's what I have a linter for. And we want to make this so that this goes to the exact path of slash. It's going to be the same one that we did up here for this order form. And we're going to call this model in here. So our use param is going to have a variable named model in it, or a key inside of its object named model. That should be pretty cool. So I'm going to save that, and we're going to click on model 3. If you notice, it just linked us to order form 3, but if you'll notice that I click on this, it refreshes the entire page. So this isn't a single form app. This is primitive stuff that we used to do 20 years ago. The idea behind having React Router is to make it so we don't have to do primitive things anymore. We can put away primitive things and bring us into I don't know, the 21st century or whatever we're in, right? So I'm just going to change all these anchor tags to a link. And now what you'll see, let's go. Oh, yeah, sorry, I got href. I also need to change these to 2. I forget. No, not that one. This one. So we're going to link 2 instead of an href. And when I click on this, so I go to Model X, Model S, Model Y, you're noticing that it's no longer refreshing the page. It's just displaying this. There's nothing there. So last one, probably, I guess we probably want to go home. We'll put a home link on here. We got a phone home button. Click on the above links to send us lots of money. Model X, home, Model S, home, Y, 3. All right, so completely useless so far. We don't even know what model we're dealing with. So this is where this name comes in. We've got this model here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to import use params from React Router DOM. Now, use params is a function or method or something. We invoke it, and what that returns is an object. So we'll do const I don't know, params. There you go. The thing is that if we go in here and we wanted to do, say, params.model, right? Hi there, params.model. Save it. No, I need to break out. Sorry. We'll do hi there, 3. And if I go to Y, it's a Y, S is an S, X is an S. It's getting it from right here. But it's even more interesting if we stop using params and we just do model in here. Then we can just put model in there. So we are destructuring out model from what's being returned from use params, turning it into a new variable named model, and then outputting it here. And it works. So phone home, model 3, phone home, model X. So any questions on use params or routers? Wow.
So far, so good.
Excellent. I'd like to hear that. So now we can do something slightly more interesting with this and actually make a form out of here. Let me pull up my notes. I always love this part. If you guys have seen me do this before, it's never my strong suit of doing forms, but yeah, whatnot. It's we'll survive. So we'll do, I guess do a section class name, and this one's going to be called order form. No need to not be semantic. And we'll say model order form. I don't know, I guess we could probably wrap this in an H2. Probably could have planned that out a little better, but that's fine. All right, so now we've got a model order form and H2. So that's model X, model 3, model Y, model S. I don't know, let's say there's a price in here. So let's do const prices equals, we'll say a 3, and we'll make this I don't know, what is it, 50 grand ish. Put a dollar sign in there. There we go. We'll say the Y is 60,000. The S, I think it's 80 grand or something. I don't remember. I could be wrong. Maybe it starts at 70. Who knows? And then the X, I think, is like 90. Who knows? It's close enough. Out of my price range on those. So, the Y, I own one, but it's a lot of fun. 90 grand is a little out of my reach. So there we go. One can always hope that you have Falcon doors not opening in my tiny little garage. No, come on. All right, so we have this prices object. If I wanted to directly access, well, I guess that would probably be, you probably put a little paragraph and say starting at, and then what we could do is we could directly access our prices, square bracket, model. So we're passing in our model because one of these is going to be a number. We can't just pass it in. We have to do the square bracket notation, and numbers don't work as a property in here like that. At least I don't think they do. But either way, I think it's a string value anyway. So we're going to just do it the safe way and do it this way. So prices dot 3, prices dot y, prices dot s, prices dot x, and so Model S starts at 80,000, 90,000 for an X, 60 grand for a Y, and 50 grand for a Model 3. Hopefully that's useful. What do you guys think? Useful? Not useful?
Very useful.
Yeah.
So let's because now I'm making 4 pages instead of just 1, right? That's kind of nice. So let's see. I think I've been dragging my feet on the form for far too long. So we have a form. And let's do, let's see here. We're just going to do a name field right quick for, let's see, what do I want to do? It's a label. So we're going to do a label and say name, text input. On the text input, we don't really have any state yet, so I haven't really put anything. I'm just going to build the form out right quick. Let's do label, and we're going to assume all these have the same color. So we're going to do an input. I think that this is a checkbox. We'll do a checkbox. So we'll do, well, maybe I don't want to do a checkbox. I think I want to do a drop down. Because checkbox is more like, hey, I want all the colors, right? Maybe if we do like performance, we'll do that. So let's see, color would be a drop down. So input. I always forget how to do this. Let me look this up. So I always love this. So that's a select. There we go. Select. Yeah, there we go. That's the reason why I can think of it. So on the select, yeah, this is just going to be color. I don't need an ID. And then options, value is going to be height. Do 3 more options. Doesn't explode. All right, so yeah, so now we've got a nice little drop down, and we'll do another one. Label. We'll call this and this be a, sorry, this is a input checkbox. The name is going to be okay, so now we have name, color, performance, and then we'll do another label with another checkbox, and then we'll do a submit button. So we'll do I can't spell that. S-O-U. We're going to have to Google that. British movies, come on. All right, solemn, there we go. Soul. Get my rear end kicked by most fourth graders in spelling. And then we'll do another checkbox. So and this one will be name is going to be lowercase p. Accepted sounds good, I guess. All right, so we should have name, I'll do dark gray, performance, solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Now we need some sort of a submit button. So do a submit button. Where's the money? No, we gotta show me the money button. That doesn't do anything. Pretty boring actually. So basic form. Took me what 45 minutes to get to this point, I guess. And so now we can start dealing with the type of information that we're putting in here. So name equals name. Yeah. I think I'm losing people. So we're going to need to do a little bit of state. So this right here is going to dictate what we use for our state. I'm also going to need a use state. And please note that I'm doing this, oops, comma. I'm doing this from the form component here. I'm making new state in the form component that deals with the data that's in the form instead of trying to put everything into like app. So this is a little different than what some people are used to. So I'm going to make a new slice of state for our form, and I'm just going to call it form because why not? So we need a form and a set form. State. I can spell today, geez. Okay, so this use state, we're going to want to have this as an object. And the first thing that we're going to want to put in here is our name key. We're going to want that as just an empty quote because that's what's going to fill in this information here. Second piece is going to be color. Third piece is going to be performance. Again, yeah, type today. And then the last one is going to be accepted. All right. So now we have our form data. It doesn't go to anything yet, but we can now fill in our values. Now on our values, we're going to want to do form.name. And so like if I save this and I do form.name, and let's say we put in Elon Tusk, notice that it pre-populates the field here with Elon Tusk. So this state here, anything that's in this state is going to show up on the screen. So as it modifies the state, it's going to modify what's on the screen. So we don't want Elon Tusk in there. Another Rick and Morty reference, just in case you guys don't know that. But, oh well, whatever. And so what we have is we have a form, but we have no way of updating the form like this. So like I can type in here and now nothing shows up. Let's see what these errors are. Yeah, there's no on change on these. So we need to make a change handler to be able to make this work. So next thing, I'm gonna move this up a little bit. I prefer to put my state up higher than that. There we go. All right. So next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a change handler. So brain's kind of stopping. So I guess we could call this form change. Sounds good. Might as well. Doesn't really matter what we call it. And we're going to want to pass in our event. So we're going to console log E, and we're just going to put a on change event. And we're going to call form change like that. So if I put in a character here, I just did A, you can see it's got all these cool little things in here. So this is what the event looks like when you hit the button. So you've also got a target, and some sort of a value is here. So you've got your event target value, and you've also got your event target name, if I can get down there. And the name is name. So let's console event.target, go down a little bit, and we'll refresh and type the letter A again. You can see that if I do event.target, it's pulling up this entire element right here. So now if we want to get event.target.value or event.target.name, we just need to do the name and value inside of there. So if I refresh, I type the letter A. So you can see that I typed the letter A. Nothing showed up here because we haven't modified anything. S, and this is a test. Name, this is a test. So we have enough information to associate our form with name. So we're wanting to access this name here. So what we can do is we can set form, and our set form needs to be an object first and foremost. So the second thing that we want to do is we want to spread in form. So this is going to make a copy of form and put it into a new object that is replacing form when it runs set form. Second thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to know our name. So what do we want to replace inside of here? So this is the one that we actually want to replace. So we don't want it to be name quote. We want it to add this stuff into here. So if we've got this name quote, we override it by putting in e.target.name and e.target.value. So here is one problem. So this isn't a valid key name. So what we have to do is we have to wrap it in square bracket, use square bracket notation. So it actually takes the value of e.target.name and not the actual e.target.name, and then puts the value from e.target.value here. So this is replacing, in this case, name inside of the form up here. So it's replacing just this one thing. So it's going underneath here, and it's putting a comma here and doing name A, like that. Or, you know, if I backspace and do, it's literally just replacing that name every single time that you type. So it overwrites that value. Does that make any more sense on change handlers? Or I lose everybody.
No, that makes sense, definitely.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so next thing, let's just go ahead and see how far we go down the rabbit hole before we start having to Google stuff. So we still need to do this, this on change here. We've also got a, I guess, a select on change, form change. We need to have a, actually the value is already here. So it'll be white, dark gray, black, or blue. These check boxes where I think we're probably going to start running into a problem. So let's see what happens when we do this form. So this is a test, dark gray, white, blue. Okay. So it says performance on, but if I check it, this performance on. So on this, let's see if we can do a value of let's see, what was it? Form.performance. On that one. So we're going to start there. And if I go ahead and refresh. So if I just click this, it just says performance, but if you notice, it's console logging this. There is no value to add in. So instead of that, we have something called checked. here. So we're checking the value, we're not checking the checked. So let's see if we can do e.target.checked. Refresh this and click on performance. Notice how now we get this true or false. We'll turn it back to false, 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 false. So it looks like this needs to be false here, and then we need to figure out a way of determining if this is checked or if it's value. So what you might do is you might make a new variable, value, and set this to a ternary to see if e.target.checked is equal to, say, null. I don't know. Let me just see what happens when we type in A. Yeah, see, it just says false. Yeah, this is one we're probably going to end up Googling it because I could never remember how to do that. I think I've got a note on this somewhere. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we need to do a type. That's right. So instead of us trying to figure out if it's checked, we need to see if it's a type of checkbox. So e.target.type. So if I go over here and I refresh again, yeah, that's fine. And I do like A, you can see this. This is a text. This is a select one. This is a checkbox, and this is a checkbox. So we need to check to see if this is a checkbox to know whether or not we're dealing with a true or false statement. So instead of us looking for e.target.checked, we're going to see if this is e.target.type is equal to a string called checked. If it is checked, then we want value to be e.target checked. If it's not, then we want e.target value. And we just change this so that it just goes to value instead of e.target to value. So, okay, I know I've lost everybody. Anybody lost on that? Please say yes or maybe, or we don't know. Silence. Okay, cool. No mic, but no questions yet. That's fine. So now if I save this, this should, air quotes, technically work. So let's go ahead and refresh. We're going to say Elon Tusk. It's updating. We're on black. Its performance is true. Also not working because we're not actually connecting it to anything. I'm going to put a use effect in here to see what our state is looking like. is always the worst one that I have to do. So we're going to do this on form. This will also be something we can use later on to do our form field validation. So use effect form. If form updates, we're going to console log the form, and I'm going to all right, so refresh. And if I click this, say accepted didn't update. Oh, did I call it accepted down here? Name as accepted. Oh, see, it's doing performance on. Did I do this backwards? Okay, so our state is doing that. Performance shouldn't be on. Refresh. It should be, it shouldn't have a value. Let me see if I messed that up on my change handler. Target.type should be checked. No, is it checked? No, it's geez. Checkbox. Geez, I'm losing my mind. Let's see here. Yeah, type is checkbox. Yeah. All right. Refresh. All right, so now that's true and false and true and false. And then I'm up to no good, true, false. Okay, so the state is changing finally. So that is the correct formula. Apologies, it has been a little while since last month when I did this the last time. All right, so fun time. All right. Looks like it's just Devante and Mike. You guys want to take like 5 minutes?
Sure, that sounds fine. That's
Okay.
good. I can use the restroom.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think I'm going through the water already. All right, I'll just go ahead and go on mute, and we will see you guys here in like 5 minutes.
All right.
Let me know if you guys are back.
Yeah, I'm here.
We got one down. Go to wait for Mike to show back up.
I am here.
Oh, excellent. All right, so now we've got our form, at least putting some information into the page. Now, before we start making this even more complicated by putting in yep, I think honestly we need to have that that finished page. So what we've got is we've got a problem where we're going to need some props being passed down from app, because we're going to want this to work anywhere on the page on what you ordered, right? So, oops, geez. We're going to use a use state, and if we do we'll say my order, set my order, and we're going to do use state, and we're just going to have this as an object. So we can either pass both of these down, or we can make a handler here and pass the handler down and set the order that way. So I'll probably do the handler, and we'll just say order submit. Sounds good. Why not? We'll say order. Come on. My keyboard's doing something weird. No, it's just really delayed. Okay. We're just going to console log the order for right now, but we're going to pass down order submit in our props here. So we've got an order form, and we're just going to say order submit equals order submit, save it. And inside of our order form, we're just going to confirm this here. We're going to console log props, refresh. You can see we've got order submit. It's a function, and it's just going to console log the order. So that's fantastic. But let's go ahead and make, when you hit the submit button, we'll make it so that it actually runs props.order submit. So we can either destructure it. I think that we're far enough along we can destructure it. Order submit from props should be good. And we'll make one called submit button. We're going to take E. Yeah, I guess we just need E. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a event.prevent. No, that's wrong. Do you guys remember why we use prevent default?
To keep the, isn't it for like when the page re-renders?
Yep. Yeah, it's going to stop the submit on a form from re-rendering the entire page, wiping out all of your wonderful work. We've never had that happen on a web form before, especially not a government one. Have we? Ah, nobody wants to make the joke. So e.prevent default is going to stop that from happening. I'm also going to use our order submit. And we're just going to pass in our form here. All right, so, and see exactly what comes out. Let me go and add it so that it looks a little nicer. So we're going to do Elon Tusk, blue, performance, he's up to no good, show me the money. Yeah, we didn't do an on submit on here, did we, on the form? Jeez. Let's see here, form, on submit, and we'll do, what was the submit button? Yeah. Like that. All right, so now let's send it. I guess I have to refresh. Why is that not submitting? No, I've lost my mind already. Let's, it should be. Let's see what happened. Let's console log something. There we go. Yeah, it's not doing anything. It's horrible. What type of a person am I? So we got a submit button, right? Oh, it's outside of the form. Oh, bug. Save. Show me the money. Yeah, there we go. Now we got. So we'll do Elon Tusk, blue performance, and he's up to no good. So your order is this. That's cool and all. We probably want to have something to display that though, right? We probably also want to reset all this stuff to a blank slate once when it's done submitting. What do you guys think? Make a blank slate?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So let's go and cut this out. And we're just going to make this global here. So this will be our initial form. So initial form is equal to this. And we're going to use state initial form. So we've got this order submit form. We're going to assume that it actually does what it's supposed to. And we can probably do like promises and whatever, but I'm just gonna make the assumption that it does and erase the form. Give me 1 second. So we're going to do set form, initial form, save it. And that should be good enough for us to make Tusk. Performance, definitely think. All right, and now it's cleared out, except I'm solemnly swear I'm up to no good is still checked. That's obviously weird. Because that updated that. Weird. We have a weird bug that I don't know how to fix. Again, All right, so this shouldn't be checked, but somehow it still was showing checked. So I don't know, maybe that's a render problem. Not a big deal. We're just going to live with that bug for right now because we're going to want to do a redirect. So let's make another component on here, and we're going to call this we'll call this my order. And so this will be why does it keep doing that? This is like the bane of my existence when it does this stuff. I'm typing faster than the computer can think, and that's bad. Or maybe the computer thinks faster than I am and wants me to import whatever that was. We need a new variable, my order. We're going to set this equal to a function. I think we probably need props because we want to know what that order is, right? And it looks like we're gonna do that same thing as what we did over here, and we're gonna do my order here. So we're going to set my order to order. And then we're going to pass this down. We're going to make our new route. Actually, let's just do a path. Yeah, we'll do an exact path. I don't know. So we'll do my order. And we haven't even finished filling this out yet. Getting distracted. And then we'll my order and all right. Not do what I wanted to do. All right, so my order, we're going to pass down our my order state. We're going to destructure it over here. No. My order equals prop. Destructor. All right, so this makes a new variable from the props object called my order. And so we'll do this. Make this a section.
So you're using props because you want this this file to be for its props to be passed down to another file. That's why we're creating this file.
No, so like this file here is like the end of the line. So all the props start up here in app. Save this. No, I also need to import it. So all the state starts in app in this. So we have state here and we're having to pass it down to my order so we can see what is in my order. So the state that we have in app can be accessed by basically just my order and app. But we're wanting to hold that state in app because order form doesn't have any children. So if my order was a child of order form, we would pass that state down from order form to my order. But because app is where our route is, that's where our state needs to lie for anything that needs to be shared between those routes. So in this case, my order is shared between routes.
That makes sense.
So we've got my order. Let me just see here. Make sure this is, oh yeah, I gotta import. All right, so let's, and then we'll do my order. All right, so here's our my order form where my order would show up. And what we can do is start doing things like paragraph, name. Come on. And we're going to do my order name. Color. My order.color. And we could do name, color, what was it, performance. And then we can say my order dot performance. So what this is going to do is, because it's true false, so it's going to check to see if my order performance is a true or false value. If it's true, then you say yes, it's a performance edition. No, it's not a performance edition. And then we'll do another P. And same thing with this, so something like this. So we've got performance, but this one is going to be, I think it was accepted. All right, so we don't have name, color, performance edition, up to no good, but let's go ahead and order, we'll do a Model Y. So we'll do, mine is a dark gray performance, and I'm always up to no good. So if I do show me the money, you'll notice that we have my order is Brian Haig, but we haven't forwarded over to, we haven't done a history push to get us over to this route here, the my order route. So if we want to do a history push, let's see, use location, use history. Ooh. So we're going to need to import use history. We're going to need to let history equal use history, because it needs to be a mutatable history element, because we're going to be pushing to it. We're going to do use params, comma, use history. And inside of here, we're going to do let history equals use history, invoke, and this will make a new thing, a new array that we can push to. And so in here, we're going to set the form, and then we're going to do history.push. And I think, Devante, you are the last one in here. And we're going to go to history push. Not a problem. We're going to go to history push and then my order. And save. So now let's try this again and let's see if we can get it to push to the other page. So we'll do Ryan Haig, dark gray, performance. I'm up to no good. Show me the money. And it forwarded us to the my order page with all of this information in here. So all this information is actually held in app. It's in state inside of app. It's not in the order form page. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm gonna pour some more of my sparkling lime. And then we can get into yup. And then Cypress is easy. You're doing literally like first week stuff, the DOM selector thing, and then seeing if it has a specific value. There's not much to it.
Okay. Is yup the same thing as a form schema?
Yup is just something that's somebody wrote up to make it easier for you to check what's inside of a form to see if it matches certain qualifications. So when you, like for an example, we're on order form. Let's say that we have let's see. Let's say that we have a schema. So a schema is just saying what you're expecting it to be. You know, what type of data are you wanting it to be? Does it match that data? So if we do, I'll start doing this up top because I can. We'll do const, say form schema, we'll need to import yup. Oh, what was it? I think it's star as yup. From form from yup. Like that. So we've got this form schema equals yup. So yup object shape. And then inside of shape, we're going to put in an object. So what this is doing is this is saying that yup is expecting an object and it's shaped like this, more or less. I'm sure it does more, and other people would probably start to argue with me with it. But basically, we have name, color, performance, and accept it, right? So these are the schema areas. These two basically have to match. All these keys have to match. The values are going to be something like yup, yup string, and then some sort of a minimum length. So min, we'll say 4. And then an error message like there we go. Must be at least 4 characters long. Color is going to be yup string. we'll say a minimum of 1. I guess we could probably actually, this one probably could be a 1 of. So instead of a minimum, we could do a 1 of. So now a 1 of, it takes 2 parameters, an array and an error message. And the error message says, please select a color. And we'll say, what are the colors we had in here? I already forgot. We got white, dark gray, black, and blue. Like that. So what this is going to do is it's going to say that it has to be one of these colors. So if you don't have anything in there, it's going to not allow you to continue. So I think there was also a way of doing an option here, something like option no value. And you could just have this as, you know, please select, something like that. If we go back over here in model 3, you've got a please select. Refresh, let's see if this worked correctly. So white. Please select. So we probably want to have the value in here of just an empty value. Right. I'm just playing with this, see if we can get this to error out. Yeah, so now it's got color is back to not selected. So if we go back up here to the schema, now if it's empty, it's not one of these. So it's going to say, please select a color if you select something and don't go back. Performance is going to be a Boolean. And we don't need to have that for anything. Accepted is also Boolean, and I think what you can do is do a 1 of on this one as well and put true in here. Something like that, I think. This I'm having to do from memory. I haven't even pulled the notes up on this one. But I think that's correct for a schema. And we haven't even used the schema yet. This is just saying that this is what we're expecting it to be. So when we test to see if this is what we expect this to be. So name, we want it to be minimum of 4 characters. Color, we want it to be one of the choices that we have. Performance, we don't care. Performance or no performance, we don't care. And if you're up to no good, then it should allow you to click the show me the money box. So the next thing that we probably want to do is we probably want to have a way of displaying errors. So we might do something like errors, set errors. That looks good to me. And then this one is not going to be, geez. Losing my mind. This is going to be a use state. And this is going to be, again, the same shape as all of this stuff here. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. But instead of this being false, this is just going to be a placeholder for an error message from here. So it's going to say, you know, on name, it'll be, must be at least 4 characters long. So if name has an error, it will display it there. If color has an error, it'll display it there. There is no error on performance, but I'm leaving it in there just because. And accepted is whether it's accepted or not. I don't think I need the comma there. Yeah, so that gives us our error state, and we're not doing anything with it yet. The last one that I usually do is a disabled, and we're going to use state of true to begin with. So we want the button to be disabled. We don't want you to be able to click this button. So on this button, we've got a type of submit. Disabled equals disabled. So it's referring to our slice of state up here. So now it's grayed out. You can't click on it. You can't submit your $50,000 until you fill out your form. Let's see here. Probably what we do is put in an error message in here somewhere. We could do so there's no error on performance. So name, color, or what was it? Name, performance, accepted. There we go. So there, then we have some empty p tags that aren't doing anything. And if that error starts to become filled with something, then it'll start telling you what is missing, not just the last error, I think. We'll try that. So, how do I want to do? I think I want to do the figure out the disabled button first. And let me see. I could probably do that in the in our use effect. So usually you're console logging the form. I don't really need to console log the form anymore, but I do want to do this anytime there's a change to the form, and I want to do it after the change is valid. So this is why I'm putting it into use effect. So basically when you type something into the form, it has to re-render what's on the screen, and that's when it changes the form and runs this use effect. So we want it to detect the change afterwards in the form and figure out if the form is valid. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our form schema the first time. So we're going to do form schema, and we're going to do is valid. We're going to pass in form, since that's what's changed. We're going to do a dot then, and dot then is going to take a callback. And so this is going to say whether the form is valid or not. So we're going to say valid, and this is going to be set disabled valid. So we'll do not valid because valid is going to be true or false, I think. Let's forget that thing. Yeah, that's right. It does. Yeah, it's the opposite of what you want. So we're going to say not valid, or because disabled is the opposite of valid. So if it is valid, it's true, which means that if we set disabled to true, it means that it is disabled. If we set valid to false, then which means it is valid, but we don't want it to be true. We want it to be false. Then it's yeah. This is how we're going to make that work. So I think that will work. So I'm just going to save this. And this right here is what's going to make that disabled button work. So like, let's say I've got, this is a test. We have selected black, and then I'm up to no good. Now the button works. If I uncheck it, it goes away. So if we just tried putting this into like this form change or something, instead of a use effect, that button would have really weird behavior on when you have something that doesn't match the schema. So like, you know, that as soon as you got done with that, it may still be showing, show me the money. Make sense?
Yes.
This right here is the hard stuff now. So because we know that the form schema is working, it's not giving us any errors or anything like that. We probably want to make something like a validate function, like a validate change. So we got this form change right here. And we're breaking this off so that we have some general idea of, without like polluting this to make this so that this is like an 80-line function, right? We want to try to make this where the function does one thing, which is just, we just want to validate to make sure that this thing's working, right? So we have to pass in our event. Let's see, what else? We're going to need to execute or validate here. So we're going to pass in our event here. So we're invoking validate change, passing in event, and then inside of our validate change, we're going to want to execute yup again. Was it? It's not validate first. I think it's reach. Yeah, reach. So yup reach, you are going to want to pass in your form schema. And then the name that you want to check your form schema. So when you're looking at your form schema, like if you type in a letter into name, you want it to check this here. So that's what the yup reach is for. So we're going to do e.target.name. And again, that shows the importance of matching all of these keys here on everything. You know, name, color, performance, everything has to match. So this is just saying it's grabbing that information, it's grabbing that key value from form schema. And now we have some way of checking e.target.name. Next thing we want to do is validate. So trying to think, how would I do this? I think we have to do that e.target.type checkbox. Because we want to make sure that it's either checked or the value. So this is that same line that we were using before, the e.target.type. And we're going to see if it's equal to not checked, checkbox. I made that mistake earlier. e.target not checked on this one. So if it is a checkbox, we're returning the checked. If it is not, we're going to do e.target.value. All right. So this is the same basic switch. I'm sure I could probably refactor this and make it look prettier, but I think this will work just fine. So now this is where we're going to be using promises to do something functional other than return an error message or do something. So like you've seen the Axios get then catch. So we're going to be using a then catch to set our errors. And I'm going to have to remember this exact syntax. So we've got a dot then. We're going to set errors. And that's going to be an object, spreader errors. And then this is just going to be e.target.name. And this is the easy one because we're setting it back to a string. So basically, if it validates, then do this. If it's not valid, we need to do a catch. And this is where it gets kind of cool. So it's also a little hard because I always forget which error I'm supposed to be doing. But I think that you've got like error.errors. So it passes in an error object. And I've never been able to get it to console log the way I want. So I kind of have to do this blindly. So we're going to do set errors. Yeah, so same thing as what we have above. We're going to spread errors. And we're going to do that e.target name. But now we're going to pass in the actual error message that's coming from, must be at least 4 characters long. Please select a color. You must be up to no good order. Those are the 3 errors that we want to be able to display. So it's going to use error. I think it was errors. And then I think it's the first element in the errors array. Let's see if I get that one right. So let me go and save that. All right, and I'm going to refresh. So if I check, uncheck. Let me see here. I'm going to make a use effect here. And we'll do it says you must be up to no good to order. So that should be, oh yeah, it did show it. Cool. And then if I type, it must be 4 characters long. Steve, up to no good. We go to white and then go back to please select. This is please select a color. So Go ahead and change this to more schema here. Oops, order form. So the error is a little bit more. So your name must be at least 4 characters long. Please select a color, and then you must be up to no good. In order to order. You must be up to no good for us to allow you to order. There we go. Sounds good. So we'll go ahead and do that. So if I check I'm up to no good, there's no error. There's now an error called you must be up to no good for us to allow you to order. If I check our color and then go back, it says please select a color. And if I type something in, your name must be at least 4 characters long. So these are very valuable error messages. I don't have to say where it belongs. You can associate that. And it also shows us that there are 3 errors in the form. You could probably make them red if you wanted to. You could even put them, in a better location if you'd like. So like, let's go and move that up. So we'll go ahead and put this, here. Okay, and then we'll put the color here. I guess we'll put a p tag here because why not? All right, so if I refresh and I type letter A, your name must be at least 4 characters long, white, and go back to please select a color. Performance doesn't matter. And if I uncheck, it says you must be up to no good for us to allow you to order. So if I select white, then it says show me the money. I think we figured it out. What do you think?
Yeah, looking good.
So I think that's it. That's all Yup can give us right now. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna, just me doing the little little different here. There is no error for performance, but all right. So we'll go and refresh, make sure that works. We'll do white. Please select red. Pretty fancy. And then performance doesn't give us an error at all. Hey, guess what?
What's up?
Now it's time to do Cyprus.
I'm ready.
All righty. So #1 rule of Cyprus is that we need to have another tab to run Cyprus, or another terminal to run Cyprus in. Always fun. So this is where we'll do the Npx Cypress open. Yes, it is okay to proceed. And now we have Cypress open. So Cypress has this wonderful integration testing thing here. Welcome to Cypress. It's actually pretty cool to be able to look through this stuff and play with things. Biggest thing is you'll notice you'll see blah blah dot blah blah dot JS. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new file underneath integration, and we're just going to call this order spec JS. Sorry, I do need to pull up some notes. Give me 1 second here. It is easy, but I just kind of forget a few times that I've done this. So let's see here. So, yeah, this will probably be just fine. Trying to remember my testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify our, I need that open. I'm going to modify this order form to give us something where we can grab onto a little easier. So what we have is we have these inputs, and so we've got, well, we can actually do like input name is fine. But I might also want to do name on this one as well. So we could do like P name equals name. P. So we know that this is the color on the P tag. And then this is, well, I guess this one's going to have performance, and there's only one button on the page, so I'm not worried about that. This one is going to be accepted. So those are the 4 things that we're probably wanting to access to see if these errors are showing up or not whenever we do type something into the form using Cypress. So we're going to also need to, let me go and save that. I think we've got enough where we can select everything else. Yeah, pretty sure at least. We're going to do, should just be an ink tag model 3. We'll do a model 3 first. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is, I guess, do like a little sanity check. So we might do an it sanity check, and then that's not what I wanted. A callback, and we're going to just do expect. We'll say 3 + 5 to equal no 2. 8. We'll go and save that, and we're going to go into none of those. We're going to run this one. It's going to run the automated test. It's going to say, yes, it worked. Don't want that to be full screen. So we know that expected 8 to equal 8. So we know that this is working. So at least we have our Cypress connected, and for the most part, it's working. So next thing that we might do is a kind of like a test group, which is a describe, and we'll say form stuff. Sounds good to me, right? Probably could come up with a better answer. And what we'll do is we'll make a before each. And inside of the before each, we're going to, no, not, stop it. We're going to want to visit our web page. In this case, localhost 3000, and you're going to want to fully qualify this. So you're going to have to do the http:// localhost 3000. So that should do, each time that it actually starts to run one of these it tests, it's going to go and do a before each and reset everything. So we're going to do it button exists for model 3. Right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to check to see on that page if there is a button named model 3. So if we inspect model 3 here, we want to make sure there's an A tag with a value of model 3. And I believe that we can do it like this. So we'll just do model 3 side.get, and then you can use a query selector on this, and we're going to be looking for yeah, I think probably we're going to need to go into here and put some sort of a name in here. Like this. Next. Oh, I'm going to take the space out just because. All right. So we're going to scigit, and we're going to do an anchor tag with a name of, come on now, Can't type today. Model 3. So no, I need to do single quotes on that. There we go. The next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to do, say, model 3 should. Let's see if I can look up Cypress. Yeah, contains. Let me give me 1 second. I always have to do this. SI contains model 3. Let's see here. Maybe it's not contains. I always forget. Content, that's it. Find the first element containing some text. Yeah, so there we go. So model 3. I think this should have an exist. I always forget. That's where I start mumbling. No. No, that's not good either. Bing, bing. It's actually scikit that, and then contains model 3. Right. All right. Brain's gone. So we're going to do. We don't actually have a contains. It's a model 3. So the value model 3 here is going to be a should. You invoke should, and we're going to put in a have value of 3. All right, let's try that. Sorry, brains. Come on. Into Cypress. Model 3 should is not a function. Oh, I'm just wanting to click on it anyway. Stop. So you do a scikit and then click. So you don't need any of this here. And then what you can do is you should be able to test to see if there's a button in here. So what we might do is do a submit button. And I'm gonna reverse these. All right. Not gonna matter, I don't think, but whatever. And we're gonna do a type of submit. So from here, what we can do is we can check to see if it is disabled. So we're going to do a submit button. Could be disabled. I think this will work. So let's go back over to our Cypress. Run this test. See if this crashes. So it did not click on model 3. Maybe it's not finding it.
Is it because of the space in the first part where it says button exists for model space 3, or that doesn't really matter?
I don't think that's really gonna matter. Kind of wondering, did I? No, I didn't invoke click. That's why. That's my bad. Let's see if this works now. It found model 3, button exists, and it clicked on it, and it shows that. So let's rename that test. Let's stop that. So it visits our locos 3000, and then we're not just checking to see if the button exists. We're also wanting to so there we go. So submit button should be disabled. You might also try checking to see if we're on the model 3 order form. So if you were to look here, it should be able to look at the H2, and it should be model 3 order form. Let me see if I can concatenate that better so it's in 1 second here. It's in my render. Yeah. So if we do a little backtick thing and we do the $sign here, then it'll be all on one line. So when we look here, it's now H2 model 3 order form. It's all on one line. So if I look for an H2 in here on our we're going to do a scigit, and we're only going to do look for an H2. Then we should be able to do like a H2. So expect H2 to equal and model 3 order form. Save that. I want to see if that's going to work. Maybe I'm starting to wake up a little bit. I knew I shouldn't have stopped drinking coffee that early. So assertion error, it does not like it. I always forget how to do the content of this stuff. I probably should know that a little bit better. Most of the times I use jest, which is very similar in syntax, like almost identical. And you'll also be doing jest unit 3, so, and unit 4. Let's see here. I always find this fun though, because you get to go through and find, it's like a Easter egg hunt or something. I'm going to stop that from running. And let's see here. Value, content. Expect. So I think expect is actually the jest thing. Value content. Let's do. Okay, so we could just do psi contains. We don't have to do any of this selector stuff. So we just delete that. And we do I'm reading too deeply into this. So this should, yeah, cool. So button exists, so it visits, it gets the Model 3 button, it clicks the button, goes to the new URL. New URL contains Model 3 order form. It gets the submit button, and it expects this button to be disabled. So now we can start checking to see if this will submit. Now that I'm remembering how to do all this stuff since last month. Let's see. I'm going to stop this first. All right, so we know the submit button should be disabled. We should be able to go into and do another and we should be able to do, what is this? What is our form names? I've already forgotten. An input name. So we should be able to do the get input name. Type. Brian. Like that. So let's just see what happens here. And so we'll go back over to Cypress, run it. Yeah, see, notice how it says Brian here? So we literally selected this element and then typed into it. So the next thing that we're going to do is a drop down. Let's see here. Cypress, stop that from running. And we're going to do, going to Google Cypress dropdown, select dropdown. Select option within a select. So we're going to do a dot select value. So we're going to be selecting a certain option inside of that. Okay, cool. All right, so the next one that we want to do is we're going to do a sci get, and this will be a input. I'm sorry. Actually, that was a select, wasn't it? Select. Name is color, and we're going to select white. Let's save that. We're going to run it again. So one change, one test. Is selected white. So you should just be able to go back to the tests and make it work. The last one that we need to do is
how come you had to use backticks for select?
I'm not using, well, I guess it doesn't matter. You use the single one. The reason why I can't use double quotes is because it breaks out whenever I do this. And backticks might just be a habit. So I don't think it matters one way or another. It's just another string. Automation client disconnected. That's always fun. We'll start that up again here in a second. So we'll do name is going to be okay. Name is accepted. And let me see if I can find checkbox. I switch between a Mac and a PC a lot, and so I have like key mappings screwed up in my head. Yeah, so it's just going to be a click. All right, so let's save this and let's see what happens when these are done, because we should be able to see the submit button should be enabled. Should not be disabled. All right, so let's start Cypress again because it crashed. That was that purple automation client disconnected. All right. I don't want either one of those. Order spec. It didn't do that. I wonder if we need to change the did I really not change the state in there? That's weird. Oh, that's the errors. Never mind. Weird. Let me move that up one. Stop our tests. Let me move this click up higher. And run it again. Because that should have updated that state after we selected white. Is that broken on the other side? New. Right. That's weird. So in testing, it's not actually showing me the money. That's really weird. But performance is,
Are you running Cypress and Chrome?
yeah, I'm in Cypress and Chrome here.
Casey said that it's buggy in Chrome.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So let's stop. Let's try it in Edge. That's running on the other screen. Yeah, it failed. So I'm going to stop. We're going to do Chrome 97. Let me see if we can do. We're going to do the performance. Have a quick performance too. There we go. Now it passes.
So what did you do to make it pass?
I had to make it click performance too. It's like it didn't register the state of me clicking on this. So I had to do one more step in order to get it to work. As I said, buggy.
Yeah.
As Casey said, rather, buggy. But so now let's click the button. And let's go and stop. So let's do submit button. So this should go to a new page. And when we submit it, we should see, should contain Brian is what we're going to do. So we're going to do sci.contains Brian. Let's see what it actually says here. I think I want to concatenate that better. Let me go back over and make it so that it gives us something like name Brian on that. I'm going to save that, but we're also going to update the order form here. Oh, it's on my order. So we're going to do this, that backtick thing here. So we're interpolating the string. It's probably a good idea to do it on all of these anyway. So I'll just go ahead and do that just for thoroughness sake. Like that. All right. That's with the long enough, and it should work. Yeah. All right. So if we go back over to Cypress, this should go through all 3 pages. So let's go ahead and order the car. and it checks to see if there's name Brian. So this starts out with, it visits the home page. It goes to another page. So it clicks on the Model 3. It contains Model 3 order form. It gets the submit button. So that gives us a way of saving the submit button because we're going to be doing lots of things to it. We're checking to see if it's disabled. We're grabbing the input name of accepted. We're clicking on it. We're grabbing performance, clicking on it. We're grabbing the name. We're putting in Brian. We're selecting color, white. And then we are getting the submit button. We're asserting that it is not disabled. We're clicking on the submit button. It goes to a new place. So HTTP localhost my order, and it makes sure that name Brian is in the page. That is a valid test. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Also known as the Rube Goldberg test. Do you ever see Rube Goldberg experiments?
I have no idea what that is.
That's where they have, like, you know, the ball bearing hits the hamster, makes the hamster run up a habit trail thing that lights a match that catches a string on fire that makes a balloon go up, and it hits a fan or something, pops the balloon, the string falls and starts something else. And it's a machine that does nothing, but it does a lot of things to do nothing. You know, one thing after another. That's the easiest way I can say Cyprus, the Rube Goldberg experiment. Yeah, the only thing I would warn anybody to do is on, like, if you're do like Cyprus here, hit the stop button. Don't try to, like, close out of Cyprus through the browser. I've just had bad experiences with Cyprus where it doesn't quite do what you think it's going to do, and then I've had to fix it, and I don't remember what I did to fix it. I didn't cry, but I came close. So that's it. So questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I have overall a pretty good understanding, or even better understanding now, of doing forms. My only question and the only thing out of all of this that really trips me up a little bit is simply props. I know that we usually start props in app.js.
So it's not necessarily props. It's not props that we're starting in app.js. It's state. So all props is an object. So, like, this right here, like, this is what's shown here, you know, in my order, right? So this is a slice of state that just holds an object. Whatever's in that object, we're displaying over here. In this case, undefined, no. So there's nothing in here. There's no name, there's no color, there's no performance, there's no accepted or anything. So this right here is just an empty object that does nothing. When we order something, it replaces this with whatever our order is. So it will have name and color and performance and accepted in here, and it will be able to be displayed here. So my order.name, my order.color, my order.performance, my order.accepted. But currently in app, my order doesn't have anything. It's just an empty object. So my order.whatever is undefined. So that's just a slice of state. So your state, anything that is a a slice of state that's going to communicate to more than one place, more than one route, more than one component, needs to be where all of those components can see that state. So in this case, it's app. It doesn't mean that all your state always lives in app. In this specific case, because this needs to be seen by our order form, specifically this order submit, and my order, where we're actually displaying that order here. Order submit uses this state here. It sets the state and console logs your order is this. So like we go to console and we go to model 3 and we do Brian White. And then I click on show me the money, you'll see that it says your order is this.
So is the word props a component built into React?
Nope, has nothing to do with that at all. So let's take a look at my order for an example. So what we're doing here is you can see my order, and this right here is now a props equals an object, my order colon that. So literally it is something that looks like this. So when you look at props, all you see is an object and a key value pair. So if I added another one to this, like there we go, using my antiquated boomer terms. This is what props would look like on my order. So like that. So if I save this and I go into here and we console log props, say, let me see if we can get rid of some more of these console logs. So, that one. And we don't want this one. We don't need this one at all. Okay. So we now have app, and we're now passing down two key value pairs into the props object in my order. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to call this right? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank goodness for filling things in. Yep, supercalifragilistic. There we go. Save it. All right, so notice how I'm not calling it props, I'm calling it supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So if I refresh this, this is the only console log in the entire thing. And notice how it's got, from app, I have made a new key value pair called Brian. I have set that value to is so fly. Brian is so fly, and this is coming from the my order. So we have executed my order right here. So because we're on the my order path. And it's rendering the my order component. So if I don't pass anything down to this, so let's just save that. you'll notice it's crashed. This is showing, prototype object, but it's unhappy. But it's just props is empty. This is the props object, or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in this case. So supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is just an object that has stuff in it. So if I put my order back in there and we do say right. Notice how we've got Devontae Quick, also a fly mother. It's very true, isn't
Sometimes.
it? you try, man. So the idea here is that we are creating props in app. And we're passing these props from here where I have it selected. This is where it's being defined as a prop. And then we're console logging it out here. So anything, kind of like, let's do a new file and we'll say Ryan.js, save it. So let's say that I have a function and we're going to call this order form. No, that's not what I wanted. And I'm going to use a capital O because I can. So equals props and let's say that I invoke this like this, and I pass in a object. So this would literally be our props object, and I have order form is that Ryan and like that. So if I run this, so like node, I've already broken it. Let me see here. Am I in there? No, I'm in. Oh, I need to be in sport. So we'll run. There we go. So we've console logged props, right? And this is just vanilla JavaScript. This isn't React or anything. We're not importing anything. We're just running JavaScript. I can copy this, open up a new browser window, inspect, go to console, and paste this in. And it gives me the exact same information over here as what we have on this, except we have his.
So whenever you create a component for props, you're doing it because you want to hold.
You're passing information into it as a parameter.
Hmm.
So you remember, like, this is an argument here, well, like back in JavaScript land, and this is a parameter. So you could call this anything you want. You could even call it banana. So don't get stuck on props being anything other than a word that everybody uses to name that variable. It's just a variable name. So it'd be the exact same thing as if I did, let's say we delete banana and we do const banana equals, and we copy this here. So I can still run this again. It does the exact same thing, but instead of it being banana, it's props. So props is just a name of a variable, but we don't want to make it so that it's locked into being just this information, right? So that's why we don't define it here. We have it defined elsewhere, like in our app.js. So this is the exact same thing. This my order, Brian, Devontae Quick. This is all the exact same stuff here when we try to do an order form and pass this stuff in. So this is the exact same thing as if I did the exact same thing as if I did this. See what I mean? And then this would be props. So
So that leads me to the question of why do we want to pass down this information? Like, are we passing it down to a server? Are we passing it down to,
yeah, we're
like,
just passing it from the app component down to the order form component in this case, because the order form component, if I don't pass it down, the order form isn't smart enough, or sorry, not the order form. The my order isn't smart enough to know my order. My order doesn't exist in this scope. So we have to pass that information from one component to the next. And we're passing it from app because this is where this lives. This my order is the only thing that I really care about. You know, the rest of this stuff is just, you know, stuff that I added in, right? So my order, this is just the key name, and this is the value that we're passing in. So it's going to be my order is equal to whatever is in this use state here. So if we change this use state to something else, it's going to be, you know, different. So like if I did name, I don't know, name hello world, and I refresh, you can see name gets passed in as hello world. The other stuff is undefined because there's no color. You can see I'm passing in this information from here. So we have made a new variable named my order, and a new function named setMyOrder that replaces whatever's in this state. We're now using the state. So whatever that use state, whatever's in here is being passed into my order. So my order equals name hello world, color red, performance true, accepted true inside of an object. Does that make sense?
It does.
So this is where it's being defined. This is where it's stored. This is where it lives. Right?
So
this my order, if I go to my order JSX, this app JSX, this line 9 doesn't exist here at all. I'm going to change this back to props.
So do we use, so when we use that component for the props, is it because we want to put that information onto the DOM?
Yeah, we want to use that information in this component. And this component is rendering to the DOM because this is this my order right here. So you can see it's, you know, if I do stuff like this to it, I save it, you can see my order is now got spaces in it. So this is rendering to the DOM because we're inside of a return statement that's returning JSX. So because we're in a return statement that's rendering JSX, if I don't have props in here, like say we do this and we get rid of props, I save this, it's going to say my order is not defined because it's defined in app.js, but we're not passing it into my order. It doesn't know where my order was defined because we're still trying to put it in here, 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 and here. So what we have to do is we have to pass down props. So if I console log the props, notice how we still haven't defined my order. We just have props. Let's refresh. You can see my order here has hello world red, you know, underneath the my order thing. So this is props.myOrder. So we could probably just do props.myOrder.name, props.myOrder.color, and props.myOrder accepted. So the only variable that we're getting in here right now is props. So we've made a new variable that we're passing in a new key value pair into it. So this literally looks like props equals my order and then whatever is up in here. So like, let me just copy this. So what we're seeing right now is this. So my order, it's calling my order and it's passing as a parameter my order with an object of this data. Does that make sense? Because this is the area, this is the function app is where this was defined and where it lives. It's scoped to this function. So this doesn't exist anywhere else other than app. Unless it's in app, it can't see it. It's invisible to all other components. So to make it visible, we have to pass it via props. So we start here and then we pass it down to my order as props. So props is just a word. Again, we could call it banana, doesn't matter. Let's see if I can have you explain how this is working next. So we've got this working. So we have a new order that came in. So whoever hello world is, Brian, and color is blue. Got the performance and also wanted to be up to no good, right? So this is what the state looks like after you've hit the submit button. Brian Haig, me, I have bought a blue performance and accepted. Let me go over here and save that. What do you think? So how would I, since we know that this data here, this my order data that's based off of line 9 doesn't exist in my order, how would we get that information into my order from doing this? I'm going to delete this. So we're just calling my order and we're not passing down props. So how would we get my order down into the my order component?
That's the part it just does not click with me.
Okay, well that's why we're gonna practice it right quick. So you understand that my order is a variable name, right?
Right.
You know that set my order is the way that you change the variable my order. So this replaces everything in my order. So if I run set my order, it completely wipes away anything that was in here with whatever I set.
It lost me already.
All right. So the slice of state, we have my order and we have set my order. So set my order is a function. If I pass, this is a test into here, set my order is no longer an object with all of this information in here. It has completely deleted all of this information and replaced it with a string that's called this is a test. And that's how state works on this. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So it's the equivalent of going my order equals this is a test. Except it does other things in the background that are funky and I don't really have time to explain it tonight. But this is how you replace the data in my order and turn it into something else. So that is what we call a setter, and my order is what we call a getter. So this gets the information that we want, and set my order sets the information that's inside of the getter. Now set my order does other things in the background that make it so that the magic of React happens. So inside of use state, if I have something in here, my order here, if this is called my order, what is my order currently, what does my order currently equal? If I console logged my order right now, what would it be?
This is a test.
Yep. How about now? What is my order?
Name, Brian, color, blue, performance true, accepted true.
Yep. So our initial state right now is that I'm the person who bought a car. If I were to run set my order with, say, your name and let's say you got a dark gray, performance true, and you want to be up to no good, then you could pass this entire thing with your name into it, into set my order, like this. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. So if you wanted to replace this information, and say you've got a dark gray, right? So this is how you would replace the information in my order, is by running this line. Mind you, we can't do it here or else it'll just keep looping until infinity. But, you know, that's just the way React works. So set my order is the way that you replace whatever's in my order. So we're not adding anything to this. We're just replacing it with what your order is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now this function, everything that's inside of here can see my order and set my order. Everything inside of here can see it. But as soon as I go outside of this function, these don't exist.
Okay.
So if I have my order here, this, where we are invoking it, kind of like here, this can see this my order, right?
Mhm.
It can see that object. Oh, let me get back over here. So if we want to make it so that my order can display my order here, let me just make it so it's my order. My order doesn't exist here. It says it's not defined. It was defined in app right here on line 9. But this is only visible inside of app. It can't be seen anywhere outside of this. You know, if I try to do,
that's the scope of app.
yeah, that's the scope of app.
Okay.
Is this one file. Is line 7 through 48. That is the only place they will ever be able to access my order and set my order, unless you pass it as a parameter, like you did in, you know, JavaScript, like this, where you invoke the function. When you invoke the function, you pass in something. In this case, notice how the JSX version looks like this. It's the exact same thing as if we did it in JavaScript like this. So we have a new function here. We're invoking it. And we're passing in information. So if I invoke order form and I save this and I run it, there's no data. No, I need to comment this out. Sorry. It says undefined because props isn't set to anything. If I set this to hi there, then it can see that. Hi there. So this is the way that I'm passing things down. So let's do we'll call this app. So just like what we have here, and we're going to do const, and we're going to call this set. Sorry, this is going to be called order form. And we're going to equal this to doesn't matter what it is. And we are going to remove props. And I'm going to try to console log order form. And I call order form from here. Right? So app is here. I'm going to delete this and this. And we're going to execute app. So if I run this, this is going to give me some problems. It's going to say order form is not defined. Do you notice that it's also saying that here? Or maybe, hold on, wait, not order form. It's my order. Let me change that 1 second. Forgetting what I'm calling variables. It's after midnight. It's my excuse. All right, so now notice how it says my order is not defined here. What are these saying?
Same thing.
Okay, so what if I passed in something called my order? And I run it again. Saying undefined. Because we haven't passed down our props. Okay. So what we've done here to get that to console log this, or to render it to the DOM, so to speak, because this is the DOM as far as we're concerned, is first we run app here. My order is scoped from line 6 to line 9. My order doesn't exist in order form. So we've got to pass via props my order into order form. So what this does is it makes it so that there is a new variable named my order here that is scoped between line 1 and 4. And now it can console log my order. So my order is set to this as an order form really. This one here is equal to this. And then it can console log this is an order form really. That's all props is. It's the same stuff as what we learned in week 2 and week 3 in unit 1. Except we're calling it props.
That's probably why I don't understand it as well, because in the unit 1 week, I think it was week 3 or 4, one of them, I had got COVID and I was out. I missed it. So.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. So the basic understanding here is that you probably need to go and study a little bit of regular JavaScript, specifically functions, passing parameters or passing arguments as parameters is what you might want to Google and learn. Because all we're doing is we're just passing props. So the difference between what you're seeing here and what you're seeing here is nothing. There's a few small things. Props is always an object instead of a string. So it would be something more like, where you're wrapping it in an object. So you got my order, and then you're putting in my order as the value. So this is a new key named my order. And this my order is actually equals, this is an order form really. So my order is, this is an order form really. So if I console log props now, and I save this, you're going to notice that it's wrapped like this. So this is console logging props, and it's a object with a key and a value pair. And then you can also destructure it by doing something like my order equals props. And if we wrap this in curly brackets, it takes this my order, assigns it a new variable name so that we can actually just console log my order like that. Notice how it's no longer putting it into this object, which is props. So we could even make this a little clearer. So if we do that, and we'll run it. So props is equal to an object with this stuff in it. And this right here, your const my order, is something that already exists inside of this object. I guess the other way of doing it would be something like that. So we're setting my order equal to props.myOrder. Does that make any sense?
It's starting to make more sense now.
Okay. So I would start with the basics with this. I would notice how, like, I just made a .js file. It doesn't even have to be anywhere special. You can make a .js file almost anywhere. You could do it in your browser if you really want. It's not my preferred way of doing things, but start with something like this and practice passing things back and forth. So like you can actually do like Brian. And reply. There we go. So if I go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm gonna this portion right here, once we get it uploaded, I'm definitely gonna review this specific part, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, it should be uploaded in probably an hour or two. So my machine isn't the fastest thing on the planet. It's not bad, but it's not super fast, especially with processing videos for whatever reason. So, but we start here where we execute app, which runs this program here. This program here, app, this function, makes a new variable. This is where we're defining that variable. We're just defining it as a string called, this is an order form, really. We're then invoking order form. So we're running this, and we're passing in props as an object, my order, with the value of this is an order form really, and Brian with the value of is real fly. And we're passing it into a new variable named props inside of order form. We're console logging a string that says props equals space, and then we're displaying props. This is that props equals space props. So if you notice, props is just displaying this line, right? Like verbatim. So my order, this is an order form really, and Brian is real fly. And then this last one, or this one here, is deconstructing the props object. So it's taking props.myOrder, storing it in a new variable called myOrder, which is the same thing as what this is doing, but this is a shorthand version of this line. And then we're console logging out this new variable called myOrder. This is how we would get myOrder from app into order form. This is also known as passing props. Make sense, or mostly?
Yeah, it started to make more sense. I think if once it's uploaded and I hear you and see you do it like 3 or 4 times over and over, it'll start sticking. It's just that for some reason it throws me for a loop every single time. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just gonna.
Props was a sticking point for me as well until I stopped freaking out about it being called props and started just realizing all it is an object. So props is equal to an object no matter what. Now, what's inside of that object, how do you get the stuff inside of that object, is by passing information from where you're invoking the function. Like in app.js, if we're invoking a function, this is invoking the function. It's the exact same thing as if I did, well, I'm gonna have to do this way. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Dang it. It's the exact same thing as if I did my order like that in JavaScript. There's no difference. And then if I pass a prop, it would be, what was the name of that? My order. Like this would be the same thing as if I have an object like that. So we're invoking my order. We're passing in my order colon my order into the props object. And when does it become props? On this end, when we call it props. If we want to break that out of props, we just do that. Because this gets props.myOrder, makes a new variable called myOrder, so this stuff can actually see my order. So that's probably the end of the night for me, and I've got to be up and working in the morning.
I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah,
for your
you're very
patience
welcome.
and your time.
Yep. And it should be in HD by the morning, so you should be able to fast forward or whatever, but I'll post it. I'll stay up a little bit later and watch it process.
Thank you, Brian.
You're very welcome.
You have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for staying.
Absolutely.
Yep. Bye.